Massachusetts workers. We filed 2 bills. I'm sorry, we've had more than 2 bills, several bills this session of the legislature that has as a goal to provide paid family and medical leave to people who provide care for family members, people who suffer illnesses themselves, so that they have the time to take care of themselves and their families. They don't have to choose between taking time to provide that care and paying their bills. So it was a wonderful session, and we have some comments first from Deputy U.S. Labor Secretary Chris Liu, who came in from Washington to provide his support and learn with us about some of the experiences from those involved on the ground floor in this industry. So, Deputy Sec.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Representative Gordon for your leadership, Senator Spilka for sponsoring the bill on the Senate side. We have the 2 wonderful co-chairs of the House and Senate committees. Thank them for participating and also for their leadership. Doing right by our workers is one of the highest priorities that we have in the Obama administration. We talked often about middle-class economics, about creating shared prosperity, and this is at the core of what we're talking about. It's providing the greatest amount of opportunities to all people. And one of the ways that you do that is through progressive paid family leave, paid sick leave policies. And I'm so pleased by the work that is happening here in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the leaders in paid sick leave, and we are hopeful and optimistic and supportive of their efforts on paid family leave. You know, as I travel around the country, as my boss, Secretary of Labor, Tom Perez, travels around the country, we hear heartbreaking stories from workers who need to take time off, whether it is to care for a child, to have a child, to care for a sick parent. And they're faced with a gut-wrenching decision of, do I do that or do I pay my bills? And that is not a choice that anyone should have to make in this wealthiest of all countries. Frankly, to me, it is unconscionable that in the richest nation in the world, we don't have a national paid leave policy. And the President has been vigorous in advocating for Congress to take action on this issue. But in the absence of Congress acting, we are traveling around the country giving lift to initiatives at both the state and the city level, like what is happening here in Massachusetts. I was encouraged by the conversation we've just had with 4 wonderful businesses who told us how the paid family leave policies that they have are good for their bottom line. It improves recruitment, it improves retention, it leads to higher morale, higher productivity. This is something that they want to do even though they are not required to do because it is good for their bottom line. So know that this is good for employees, it is good for businesses, and we're going to continue to make this case and be supportive of the efforts here in Massachusetts. And I want to thank all of the folks up here for being here and being part of this important effort.
Thank you. I'm State Senator Karen Spilka and the Senate sponsor of the bill that's before. I want to thank my colleagues for all of the support and for being here. Thank the companies that are here who have voluntarily chosen to provide paid family leave and who, as the Deputy Secretary noted, have shown that it's not only good for employees and families, but it's good for business, for all the reasons that were stated. I do also want to take this opportunity to especially thank Deputy Secretary Liu for taking the time to come up here on a beautiful February day. The spring is a little bit nicer, but in terms of the weather, but it really highlights the Obama administration, Secretary Perez and Deputy Secretary Liu's commitment to help make this a reality, not only for Massachusetts, but for all of the states across the country. As I said early, it's really a rare thing when any one parent can be the only one to work and another can stay at home to care for family members simply because the numbers don't add up anymore. Beyond that, there are many, many men and women that want to stay in the workforce, that choose to work for so many reasons. And we as a state, we as a society need to encourage this choice. It makes our economy stronger, it makes our families stronger. But sometimes the normal schedules, which we work so hard to balance, they get unbalanced and out of whack, sometimes fairly easily. This could be for the best of reasons, for the birth or adoption of a child, or it could be for profoundly sad reasons, for an illness or terminal illness of a parent or someone that's loved in the family. As Labor Secretary Perez has said, the most valuable asset that we have when faced with these situations is time. I can attest to that. When I had my children, I worked actually for the state, and it was an unpaid leave, but I took the first time a few months, the second time a few more months, because I could never capture back that time from the first time around. And I really missed that, and I didn't want to have to go through that the second time, but it was unpaid, and it was very, very difficult. We may want to take days off, but the mortgage doesn't take time off. The bills don't take time off, and it's really important that we help our families. You've heard all of the reasons why this is critically important. It's beyond time now. We are one of 3 industrialized countries in the world that does not do this. There is no reason why we can't make this a reality. This session, let's work together. Let's enlist the businesses, our colleagues. Let's make this a reality for Massachusetts for 2017. Thank you very much.
Very much for traveling to New England during our snow season. So real quick, everybody is making the case why this is the right thing to do from a moral standpoint, from an economic standpoint. So I want to talk for a minute about process here. This will go much easier if those who represent the employees in Massachusetts, through their business advocacy groups, the Chambers of Commerce, the Mass Tech Council, the Associated Industries of Massachusetts, the mass retailers, the mass restaurants, the National Federation of Independent Businesses. I know I'm leaving a few out. This should be a unanimous voice for those who represent businesses and through those businesses to the employees. This will go a lot smoother through the House, through the Senate, and through the governor's desk if we speak with one voice and advocate that Massachusetts is a good place, a great place to do business, not only because businesses survive and thrive and are profitable, but because the employees know it's a great place to come and work. So that is my pledge. Mr. Secretary, again, thank you for being here. Representative Gordon, your leadership is incredible. Chairwoman Spilka, same to you. And to my co-chair, who it's a love affair. We've worked together now for just over a year, but I so much appreciate and enjoy your leadership and working with you. Thanks very much.
What do we hear in this economy? We hear that there's a need to fill jobs. There are people who are seeking jobs. There are employers saying, I can't find qualified workers. What does it say if an individual winds up because of a family health problem, because of pregnancy, a child issue, that they wind up leaving their job? Are we facilitating? Are we helping our economy grow in those situations? No, we're not. We heard in the last session that it's taking as much as 150% of the cost of an employee to replace that individual. So why should we be looking to replace qualified staff, individuals who are doing the job already, with individuals who simply, we need to find them? So this makes sense. If it is fair, if it is working in other states, in other countries, why not in Massachusetts? We took the lead in terms of health care, insurance for everyone. We've taken the lead in terms of some education standards. We're taking the lead in terms of paid sick leave. Let's do the right thing in terms of looking at paid family and medical leave to ensure that our employees can continue to work for those employers and we can improve the state's economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we just heard from some wonderful forward-thinking businesses that took time out of their busy day to come in, not because they're providing family leave already. They came in because they want to talk about why that should be a right, a civil right of all people in Massachusetts who work. A civil right to be able to take the time to have as a family value the time to take when you've got times of great joy and times of sorrow. And we're very lucky that these businesses have come in, taken the time to share their experience with us. Now I see Senator Ken Donnelly was peeking his head. There we go. Senator Donnelly's joined us. But I want to introduce couple of the representatives from the businesses that have come in here. One is Nick Bates House from Tamer Inc., a Massachusetts startup, and the other is Elisa Barrett from Spotify. In whichever order you would like, can you come and share some words with us? Nick.
Thank you. Tamer is a small startup, software startup here in, we're out of Harvard Square. We have about 70 employees now. Tamer offers a generous parental leave policy. We provide 18 weeks of fully compensated leave to primary caregivers. We provide 10 weeks of fully compensated leave for secondary caregivers. And we have had, in the 3 years the company's been around, we've had 4 Tamer babies. All of them have benefited from this policy. And the policy is an essential aspect of what makes Tamer a great place to work. It's an essential aspect of what attracts people to the company, which is one of the biggest challenges for a startup, is attracting great talent and retaining great talent. And providing this benefit is not only great for the employees, it really is great for the company and helps us attract and retain the best people.
Hi. So Spotify is a Swedish company located in Stockholm. Everything's different over there. They have employees throughout the globe, 28 countries, and 1,100 of them in the United States. When first trying to figure out what they were going to do when it came to parental leave, one of the things that they were not fully aware of was how different leaves were going to be experienced if they didn't do something across the globe. So earlier this fall, Spotify released what we refer to as our global parental leave policy. That policy is a 7th-month term. It's 6 months, 100% paid. Any parent, if you're a parent, male or female, it's gender neutral. And we deem a parent, we don't care how you got the baby. So natural birth, adoption, surrogacy, if you have a baby and you need to take care of them, you could be on our parental leave. For 6 months, you're fully paid. We hope that you take that time all at one time. But we also know that for some people that might also be a juggle. The minimum that we ask them to take is a 2-month block. After that, they can do 2 other blocks of 2 months. The 7th month we refer to as a welcome back opportunity, which is get back into the office, but let's slow roll this. Let's make it so that you're working from home, you're working part-time, you're gradually getting back into the workforce. Because now there's other considerations that you have in regard to, it's not just getting up and going to work. You have this human that you have to deal with and figure out how that's going to impact your work life. We know that transition's often hard, which is why we added the 7th month. We felt, just from looking at leave in all of the other countries that we were offering the leaves, we felt that it really needed to be that anybody within the company would have the same advantages if they were working in Australia, in Canada, in the UK, or here in the US. So that's where our leave came from. At the end of the day, as the conversations we're going through on why we were doing this, we're really doing it because it's the right thing to do. That's it.